What's up, y'all? Drill88 here, and welcome back to another video. Today I have the acclaimed, the master of all things mechanical, the sultan of sci-fi, the guy who's trying to bring back time travel in novels.
It's not easy. I didn't realize how many people were like, time travel? That died in the 80s. It did not. It's still here and it's alive.
We're here with JA Stowell, the author of the up-and-coming novels, Jericho Johnson, The Paladin Chronicles, I believe. Give us the title.
Okay. Jericho Johnson, the first ones are the Jericho Chronicles. The spin-off is the Paladin Chronicles.
Okay, so it's more than just this one story. You do have other stuff in the works.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Got a lot of
Good to
stuff
know.
in the oven for you people.
Fantastic. Good to know.
The audience. Not you people. All people that can read. Or even if you can't read, just have
I'm just gonna let you keep
have
going.
someone read it to you, perhaps, because I have not made it to Audible just yet.
Working on that.
That would be awesome.
But we have some questions.
Yes.
Got some questions for the author, and figure we could go through this and see what's up. Got some.
I'm ready.
Awesome stuff. So first and foremost, what is the premise of Jericho Johnson?
Okay. Jericho Johnson was written to be more of, like he said, bringing back time travel. But one thing time travel has, it's not just high stakes. If it's an action book, there's going to be some stakes. You want stakes, but it's more of a, I don't know, like the actual time travel part of it isn't where the stakes come from. It's more of, I want to say, the characters and the situations that he finds himself in. But it's more of a
First book overall, not whole series.
Okay. God, I was thinking
What is
4 books ahead. I'm so sorry.
What is just Jericho Johnson?
Jericho
Gauntlet of
Johnson
Time?
is a story of a man, Isaac. Really awesome. No, it's a man who has been smart his whole life. He's always been the smartest guy in a room. Went to college when he was in mid-teens. Got a master's degree when he was 21. Teaches college, does all that good stuff, and he ends up finding a way to travel in time.
And that's pretty much all we need to
That's
go
pretty
off
much.
there.
That's pretty much it.
That's the overall premise, at least of the first book.
Yeah, it was heavily inspired because when I was writing it, I was really into Russia at the time.
Weren't you playing like Metro or something
Russia,
at the time?
I was playing Metro.
A lot
of Metro 2033. Cannot plug it enough. It's a great game. But yeah, it's he ends up accidentally winding up 300 and something years in the future and having to deal with shenanigans and what's left of the planet Earth. So
Always
the
beware
first book.
shenanigans. Anyway, what makes Jericho Johnson stand out from other time travel stories? Because when it comes to time travel, it has been done. One of the older books is The Time Machine. And it's been in games, it's been in literature. It is, if anything, it's less a genre and almost more of a trope or a cliche at this point. So what makes the time travel of this book any different from the rest?
Okay. I already mentioned it before. What I wanted was time travel without the, not just stakes, but when at the end of the book you have to sit and think for 45 minutes, like, what the heck did I just read? I did not want that to happen.
Like going back in time and punching Hitler doesn't alter the timeline?
Well, he did punch Leonardo da Vinci. Jericho punches Leonardo da Vinci in the mouth.
Any particular reason?
He didn't like his face. Da Vinci was, as we all know, a cad. So he said something he should.
We apologize to the Da Vinci fans out there.
He's cool.
Love his pizza.
But he gets punched. He got punched. And in the book, there's another character that tries to stop him from his time travel. And she basically explains why, and she mentions the butterfly effect. The actual effect, not the movie. And he basically says, yeah, I tested that theory out, it's bogus. And the way he described it, and I'm the author, so the way I described it, was time is like a painted sidewalk. And when you go back to the painted sidewalk after it's dried, that's it. You're not going to walk all over it and mess anything up. So
specifically painted, not chalk.
Yes. Not something that's going to twist someone's mind up. In the first book, there's quite a lot of time travel. It happens a lot. Some in the other ones, the fourth book is a mess. He's time traveled. I'm not done with it yet, but it's happened pretty frequently. It's ridiculous.
We'll get to that interview at a later
unnecessary amount of time travel happens in the last book. It's crazy.
In short, it takes effort to change the past. You can't just step on a ant and all of a sudden you lose half your existence.
Yeah. Sound of Thunder, another obscure time travel movie about dinosaur hunting. Loved it. Go ahead.
All right. What's more important to you whenever you're writing the story? The reader grasping the theme, the concepts and different things of that, or the reader's free interpretation? Which is more to say, whenever you're writing a book, and specifically Jericho Johnson, what are you expecting the reader to get out of it? Do you want them to have an idea of this is how you planned it, or do you want them to give them ideas and then they come up with what they think those ideas mean?
Probably more of the latter, free interpretation, because this isn't the Da Vinci Code. There he is again, Da Vinci. This is not a series that's gonna make you rack your brain over and over again. You know, why did he write it the way he wrote it? It was more written as the
curtains are blue.
Yeah, it's
because I like blue.
It's more of an ode to, fans of the sci-fi, action, epic fantasy type of genre. It's more of it's not something, if you don't understand something, it's because it hasn't happened yet. That's all I can really say. But I would rather someone read my book and come away with it with whatever they wanted to think, really. I mean, to be honest, reading the book, that's the first step. After that, whatever, man. I would rather someone have a good time than feel trapped in a way of thinking that they felt the author was trying to just push them into a corner like, this is the way it is. It happens in a book, and it's in print, so it's kind of hard to change at this point.
Fair enough. Are you in this story? Or is Jericho your analog?
I am not in this story. This is actually a funny story, because people think that I am Jericho. People think that, you're bright about yourself, and that's not true. I'm very un-Jericho-like. We are a little conceited. I shouldn't have said we right there. I shouldn't have said... He and I keep lumping us together. Jericho's not really conceited. He has a little bit of an edge in the first book, but he kind of comes to fruition more of grips with the fact that my personality's not helping things. And he does change, I think, more towards the end, and especially towards the end of the second one, which is not out yet. But there are a few important people who have actually read the second one, I feel. But no, I'm not in this book. I thought about pulling a Dark Tower, because if anyone's read that, Stephen King put himself at the end of that book, basically making it where they ran into this guy and were like, if you don't finish writing this story, we're gonna die. And at that time, King was useless. He was an alcoholic drug addict, but he wasn't as cool in the 70s as people like to remember him. He was so high he gets hit by buses and stuff. No, I'm not in this book. Would love to be. Now, if anyone follows Jericho Johnson on Twitter, he and I have some correspondence, but other than that, no, not in his book.
All right.
Thank God, especially the second one. I would not want to be in the second one.
Yeah.
Oh, shenanigans abound.
All right. What is your biggest struggle in terms of writing? What slows you down the most?
Video games.
Yeah, I can totally understand that.
Video games. Now, here's the thing. To the authors, aspiring or legitimate out there, it's more of you can have a synopsis, you can have a freaking script, doesn't matter. This is what's going to happen. Perfect. And you still have to have a sort of muse, a sort of, I feel like I could write 20 pages today, which doesn't sound a lot to anyone who doesn't write books, but 10 pages in one day to someone who does write books, you're like, whoa, 10 pages? Did anyone see that? And they just don't care. The biggest struggle for me is, I said video games to be funny, it's more of time. And which in turn leads into, do I want to write 10 pages today? Or do I want to try and beat the castle in Dead Cells? Video games fall in there. That's probably my biggest hurdle. Yeah, that's the biggest hurdle because I want to do other stuff. And with work, that doesn't help either. We don't need jobs. We just need money. So yes, video games, work, and then third, probably my family. I'm joking. You guys are first, always.
All right, fantastic. How did you get started in writing? What was the beginning of your writing career?
Okay, here remembers this one. Fanfiction.net.
Oh, my Lord.
Who remembers fanfiction.net? It's probably still around.
Oh, it is.
I was like 14?
13 or 14?
13 or 14. And on fanfiction.net, I had simultaneous stories going. I had a Pokemon story.
Gary's Tale.
It was basically the same area. You know how Gary always showed up in Pokemon and no one knew what he had been doing? Well, I showed the world what Gary had been doing.
Before they gave us an explanation, you were giving us the truth.
I remember saying, Gary's better than Ash. Why is it? Sure, he doesn't love his Pokemon, but what was Pokemon really about? Was it love? Or was it winning? I want to be the very second best? No, best. Gary was the best. So I wrote a story about him. Didn't finish it. And then I started writing a Zelda story, Navi's Tale. Finished it. And then I did a spin-off of that about Ganondorf. What is it with me and side characters?
They're, honestly, 9 times out of 10, they're more interesting than the main character.
You know, Jericho, eventually, he was a side character at first.
Really?
But we'll get to that, yeah.
Huh.
He was just supposed to randomly be a person that I wanted to write.
Right.
He was in Newton. I wanted to be a time traveler in a pirate book, just as a funny way, just a couple of pages where the reader would know, why does this guy have a camera in 1665? You know, they would know what was up, but the characters in the story would be like, oh, that's funny, jolly good, something like
what
that.
What an odd fellow.
Yeah, what a weird guy on the beach. It's weird. So I decided to write a little backstory for this character.
And then
it turned into 4
turned
books.
into
4 books.
Four books and a
4 books
miniseries.
and then a bigger series afterwards. So.
Oh, man.
Yeah, that was a long time ago.
Who is your favorite author and why? And almost by proxy, favorite book.
Okay. Brandon Sanderson is my favorite author. And he just became my favorite author probably about 3 months ago. Before that, I had to say my favorite author was probably Michael Crichton. Still amazing. I think it's a little weird that books are still coming out when he's been dead for a few years, but I don't care. Michael Crichton, to me, I remember listening to Jurassic Park on tape when I should not have been. When I was like 6, and I got it from the library. They're like, about dinosaurs. Give this little kid this book. And I'm like, this guy just not only swore, but he got eaten after he got. He said a swear word.
And that's why he got eaten.
God said, dinosaurs are here now. That's what happens. That's a good one, actually. Okay. Michael Crichton was my favorite, but I started listening to Brandon Sanderson's Stormlight Saga on Audible a few months ago, and it is absolutely fantastic. Epic fantasy for forever. The Hobbit used to be my favorite fantasy. No more. The Way of Kings, Stormlight Saga. I recommend anything Brandon Sanderson did, even when he finished The Wheel of Time. It's amazing. You will not be disappointed. Unless you would rather read my book, then you can't go wrong with that either. Just don't read his book and then my book and be like, don't try that. That'd be like, do I want sushi or do I want this half-eaten hot dog I found that was too big to go through a drainage pipe or something? I don't know.
Oh my Lord.
Yeah.
Okay. Currently, your book is with an editor, as I assume.
Well, the first one is.
First one is the one we're talking about.
It's done. It's on. Been published. It's on Amazon, Kindle. You can get it.
How do you think the edits will affect the book for the better? Because I was privy to your book originally before you actually got it to an editor, and there was we talked a long time. There was a lot of edits that were supposed to be going on. Didn't they want to break up the first book?
Okay, here's what happened. The first book was originally 88 or 89,000 words, and by the time I got through editing it, and it was self-published like that. There was a lot of stuff. And then when I started getting in talks and it got edited, it ended up being 67,000 words. So 20-something just out right there. I shortened it, but it expedited a lot. And the first book was better for it. Now, the second book and the third book were quite longer than 67,000 words, about double. And my publisher said, a little long for this genre. You're not really as established. When you're established, they say you can do what you want. That's when you crank out Brandon Sanderson's books that make War and Peace look like green eggs and freaking ham. Okay? But I'm not established. So maybe we should cut them. And I've been trying to cut book 2. It's been perilous. I stopped writing on the last book because I was trying to divide these up, and it was going to be 4 books, and then now it'll be 5. It's been a bit of a rough patch. I don't know if it can be done. I think me and my publisher are just going to butt heads. I'm just going to say, it can't be done. Let's agree to disagree and say, I'm right. It can't. But book 2 was like my magnum opus. I love book 2. I didn't want to. When I did the same rewrites for it before it was supposed to be cut, the first one I lost a little bit over 20,000 words. The second one, which was double the length, by the time I was done with it, I don't even think I lost 10 pages. Everything just coalesced. It was the way I wanted it. And now they want me to chop off the last 45,000 words and add it somewhere else. I think it'll be better in the end, but right now it's hard to think that.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's like, my favorite book's getting bisected. I'm like, okay.
Fair enough.
It'll happen.
Fair enough.
Whether it's long or short. So, we'll see.
Why should people read Jericho Johnson?
So you tried your weird English 1800s Pride and Prejudice-esque spin-off of, and will they, won't they, and ball gowns and duels that were lame, and you were like, there's something that's not getting filled. I got you covered. Jericho Johnson's everything you want in a book. Swords, shields, Spartans for a second, Vikings,
a lot of Vikings,
robots, robot Vikings, cyborgs, time travel again.
Lasers.
I mentioned lasers. Weird Hadoken moves. You don't know. You don't even know. It's really good in the second book. It doesn't anyway. I feel it's more of a action comedy. That's the way I want it to feel. Where, sure, there's little dramatic parts, but you're really there for the journey and the characters, that just ragtag group of people pulled from different times. I think it was originally written because it's what I wanted to read. And then I realized that the books that I like to read were, million copies sold, teenage, whatever books. So I think it'll work out in the end.
Not to put too fine a point on it, but it's kind of at least whenever I read it, it came across as like the geeky, nerdy. It is what those kind of people, me, would enjoy reading. It's a fun adventure. Which kind of puts it with Ready Player One, another great book.
Movie wasn't half bad either.
But it was really meant for fans of the genre. And I feel like Jericho Johnson also does that.
Yeah, well, he also is like the tidbits of his past that when he decides to tell the reader, because he addresses the reader a lot. He was
first person, by the way.
He was a geek growing up. Played Dungeons and Dragons growing up. Played a lot of RTS. He mentioned StarCraft. A little bit of everything in there. A lot of MMOs that he did growing up. And yeah, so I think fans of the genre, like you said, and it doesn't hurt if you're a little geeky or nerdy. Or a lot geeky and nerdy.
It helps.
It definitely doesn't hinder you, that's for sure.
All right, so with one book practically being published, you've got multiple books already in the works to be published. You're working on another spin-off series, and from what I hear, you've got that pirate story that still needs to be finished.
Yeah.
And you're working on another story involving robots and westerns.
That's it.
So, with all that being said, what are your plans for the future? Like, where do you go, assuming you finish everything you've started?
Okay. Jericho Johnson, Lord willing, is only going to be 4 books long. 3.5 of which are done. And to be honest, maybe more than that. I think if I worked hard, I could finish the 4th Jericho maybe in about 2 months. I'm not working hard because of the other irons in the fire he spoke of. Not only that, now that I'm with a publisher and it's not self-published, I look at it in lines of, well, book 1's out, you know. And before I went with a publisher, the first 3 books were self-published. They were accessible to everyone. And now they're not, so I look at it as, well, book 2 and 3, divided or not, it's going to be a while before they come out. So I don't feel like, I'm like, well, I can wait on book 4. It also doesn't help that I'm trying to split them up like my publisher asked, but we'll figure that out. There is a spin-off series that takes place in the Jericho verse, coined by me, that is about some of the other characters within the first 4 Jerichos. It'll be a little bit tonally different. The main character will be a girl, which isn't bad, but I'm not good at writing girls. Not first person, but that's the way the story's going. Be a little bit more streamlined, and it's more intergalactic. They go to all these different planets, and the future's different and bright and awesome. That's the Paladin Chronicles, which takes place after Jericho Chronicles. The pirate book, which needs to be finished, was first... I got like 700 pages on that thing. It's going to be a long comedy romp epic.
Involving...
Isaac Newton. Getting... Where were we before the world collapsed?
Newton.
Newton. It's a book about Isaac Newton. During the bubonic plague in 1664, he left college in Cambridge to go back home. Some shenanigans ensue, and him and his best friend are mistaken as wealthy monarchs and kidnapped by some pirates who think they're going to make some coin. And they end up thinking, well, if we tell them, we're going to die. So they're like, yeah, we're rich. It's a great story. That's actually where Jericho came from, was that pirate story, which I have yet to finish. Back burner. It's on the back burner of a stove that's in storage. Okay, it's not even in the main house. It's horrible. I want to finish it, but not now. Jericho, 4 books. Paladin Chronicles, I don't know how many. And then I'm working on a new book called Tex Machina, and it is about alternate Jericho verse where the state of Texas is on Mars. Yep.
And that's just about all we need to know about
pretty
that.
Fresh. They ride dinosaurs instead of horses, but it's set up like if Unforgiven, Jurassic Park, and RoboCop were welded together in this weird, awesome monstrosity. With a bit of Blade Runner in it. Just enough Blade Runner to where you say, I see what you did there. Thank you. So you didn't have to sit through a 3-hour Blade Runner movie with hardly any dialogue. Like, I love beautiful visuals, but say something. So that's Tex Machina. And then I got another children's story that my dad and my wife want me to write before the other ones. They're like, screw the other stuff. Write the turtle story.
Oh, yes.
Vladimir Pope. He'll come around one day. I just don't know when. It'll be a minute.
And with that proverbial mic drop, Mr. JA Stowell, where can the world find you, your work, and how can they throw money at you?
Okay, the first book, The Gauntlet of Time, Book 1 of the Jericho Chronicles, is available on Amazon right now, paperback and in Kindle format. You can follow me on Twitter at JA_Stowell. Find me on the other social media stuff. You can follow my author page, which is j.a.stowell on Facebook and all that good stuff.
Fantastic. And if you guys want to find this book, I will be leaving links down in the description down below. As always, it's great meeting you, man.
Sweet.
And see you next time.
Rap. Newton. Getting...
I thought I saw it sliding down.
I was trying to not hit things.
No, what happened? Okay, let's...
It's still recording?
Okay, I think it is, yeah. Okay, what's it look like on that end?
Looks good to me.
Okay, let's just move it this way a little bit. It's fine. Nope, there's the thing. Dang it, come on.
There we go.
Looking good? Okay.
All right.
So, all right. And 3, 2, 1. Hello, everybody. My name is Drill88. I am also... no, that was terrible. No. It's all one go. We fix it in post.
Can we fix it in post?
We can fix it in post.
You can fix it.
I can fix it in post.
So no one's going to see this. Blah, blah, blah.
They might. Okay.
That'd be terrible.
Okay.